So, as we discussed, we're going to start today talking about colorism in the Black community. I made the decision to have this discussion because as I was watching Love and Hip Hop, and Spice was talking about women and how they bleach, and I went to work and was talking to some of my colleagues about it, and one of my colleagues started to tear up as she was telling me about how she was treated because her skin was dark. So myself, it's not familiar to me. I know I've heard people talk about it, so I decided to bring us together so we can have a conversation and continue to have a conversation, because I think it's important that we start making a change in our own minds about who and what we are, and we're not being defined by the color of our skin, and whether we're light, we're black, we're all black women, we're all beautiful. So I want to start with Jasmine. Yes, because you're one of the reasons why I made the decision. Oh, and also, I had a client who came in and she was really dark skinned, and she's so beautiful. She has this beautiful long black hair and this beautiful skin. I always feel like women who have darker skin, their skin is pretty. She was very upset at the fact that she was teased when she was, a child, and we bring everything from our past into the present. So she talked about that, and she feels like she can't accomplish the things that she wants to accomplish in life because of her dark skin. Me personally, I believe that if you believe that, then it will be true for you. So it's really about changing our minds and changing our psyche about this whole idea of colorism, and that we are less than because we're dark, or we're better than because we're light. And we have to understand also that this whole entire idea was created as white supremacy, right? So this whole field nigger and house nigger thing, where the white people were, I think the white people were more comfortable with the lighter skinned people because they were related to them, So, and then, because the slave owners were sleeping with the black women, right? So like I said, I want to start with Jazzy. I want her to talk a little bit about her experience being a darker skinned black woman.
I'm very emotional.
I know.
Sorry. I got always do a disclaimer. My household was amazing. My mother is an Amazon woman. She's 5'11", dark-skinned female, and she's built to the nine, and she's dark. She's probably darker than me. Mm-hmm. And she's always spoke life into me and who I am. And she always thought, if they don't want to look at you, then tell them to turn around.
Mm-hmm. I like
and that was always her attitude. And I felt my mind was, you have to say that because you're my mother. Right. She didn't say that it'd be a problem with me, right? And I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Like my experience is tough. Mm-hmm. But inside, it's like, woo, they know you're black, they know you're dark skin. Mm-hmm. Growing up for me in Brownsville has been life-altering, but also emotional, because I always felt.
Okay. Take your time.
I've always felt it's a karmic response. Something I've done in my past life. This is why I'm dark skinned. Mm-hmm. I always felt it was something I did in my past life too.
So you felt like you were being punished?
Yes, because my family's really mixed. There's definitely some light skin complexions, dark skin complexions. I always felt like this didn't happen for me because something I've done in my past life. I've been called burnt toast, black crayon, darky. People say, okay, you see when the light guard is jabbing his teeth. Like, it's been really hard. And I don't hate nobody for it. I don't feel the way about that. It's just I always internalize it like, okay, well I gotta be better or whatever it is that I can do. I never forget my first college experience, and I didn't believe the word racism until I experienced it. And a female said, "Can I call you nigger?" And she was like, "What?" Female. And I never forget her name because at the time I was 18. I was like,
"Where did you go to college?"
I went to Eastern Michigan University, and that's in Ypsilanti. It's fairly, the population of black people was like 17%.
Right.
And I didn't want to go to a college.
Trying to call you nigger.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go to a black college and get in because I was black. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'm going to go somewhere where they have to take because of my grades. And when I got in, and that was where I was met with, the black part, and you're from New York part. I'll never forget, she said, "Oh, your tongue is pink. That's crazy." And I thought, damn, this is looking on me. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I can't fit in. And I never forget how that felt. And I always never told nobody else because I didn't want them to feel bad for me.
So
tell me
how it felt for you. Can you describe what it felt like?
I used to, and I say disclaimer, my mother was great. It wasn't her. It's me. I wanted to die. I always contemplated suicide. I felt if I died, I don't have a second chance.
It would come back as somebody.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt no more. I wouldn't feel no way. I always felt if I was just lighter, this wouldn't happen to me. I was always that friend in the group that I'm the toughest one in the group, but if you go into a crowd of people that were lighter than me, I felt like, oh God, like they probably think I'm just like that goofy friend, that awkward friend, that ugly friend that everybody brings along. I've never felt, up until I was 14, I contemplated suicide. And I did because I felt it would just make me feel better. I used to go to sleep thinking if I woke up lighter, I wouldn't feel no way. And I hate that I feel that way. And I understand it, and I would never put that on somebody, project it to somebody else, but I can't help but still feel that way after I speak life into somebody else. I'm like, you're beautiful, but then I can't say it to myself. Up until I turned like 15, I wore neutral colors, because I felt, well, you're too black to wear orange and yellow. I didn't start wearing yellow until I hit 25. Because I felt, well, you're black, you don't wear those kind of colors. You don't look good. Like, I really took it on myself to make it feel like it was just ostracizing myself. And there's a point where I cut myself off from people because I was like, I just don't feel like I can't deal with who you are and myself at the same time. It's too much to take on. And I've had friends who literally said, I will not have I have friends who are darker than me who said, I don't feel comfortable having a child with another dark-skinned person because I don't want them to experience the life that I've gone through. And I get it, and I never thought that way, but I felt like I don't want my kids to have to deal with what I went through because I woke up every day hating to have to go out in public. I felt like I had to put a bag on my head. I felt like if I could just disappear, I'll be fine. And like as I got older, I came across those same people again, and I didn't feel the way about them. And I said, you made fun of me. They was like, oh, my bad. And I was like,
let me just interject for a second, Jazzy. You felt some way about them, and it's okay. It's okay if you felt some way about them because they made you feel bad. Thank you for sharing your story, and I'm glad that you are because I want other people to know and understand how this affects people, how it affects them inside. All the stuff that you shared, thank you for that. I want anybody else want to come in and say something just about, I want a light-skinned person to say something about her feelings,
I'll be the extreme. So it's the same for me. If I'm in a group and everyone's dark-skinned, it's like I don't fit in with them, but I'm different in my head. So if I wasn't who I was, I would probably have the same feelings. I'm just a social worker, so that's cheating, right? So it's like a little different. So it's cheating because I already did therapy and I know enough about myself to know that I could care less if you don't want to be around me. Like if I put on yellow or beige, my friends are like, you can't wear that because you look the same color as your clothes, and I'll wear it anyway because that's what I want to wear. So I am that person that I'm never going to wear what you tell me to wear. If you tell me it doesn't look, then I'm just going to wear it anyway because I don't care. It's the same with my hair. Like I have been to so many places to get my hair done and they say that I can't use black people's products because my hair doesn't curl, it doesn't get, kinky. I don't want to use, kinky. Right, it doesn't get kinky or they can't twist it or whatever. It's my hair, there's nothing I can do, so I just put water and it just curls up. I just came out the shower literally and this is just water. So there's nothing I can do about it. I do understand, like when I speak to students and they're telling me, and I remember though being that girl that wanted to be the light-skinned girl because when you're walking in a crowd, they would be like, hey, light-skinned, and no one else could turn around except me, right? So I knew they were talking to me, so it kind of made me feel back then as a young girl that like I was a little better, like I always had the upper hand, because I could fit in. Like people don't know where I'm from, who I am, or if I'm black, white, mixed, whatever you want to call it now. So it's easier for me to go to a place and not really I thought experienced racism. I thought I was gonna be like in a way shielded from that. However, I lived that every day in this town, especially with the center. So I appreciate you for sharing, and know that it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but it's the same on this side because I'm piss color. I'm every color except black or light skin. I don't even have a color sometimes. I'm just pale. They're like, yo, why are you so pale? Like my legs, like I cannot. It doesn't matter. I go in the sun. I can stay in the sun 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When I wake up, I look just like this. Or, you know, now that like I wear my watch a lot, people are like, oh, you got a little color. You know, so it's like, it's not much better on this side. And I know people who it really affects, and they go to the sun. They're at the beach every single day, like they're there right now, because they want to be dark so bad. And I'm like, just be you. And I know it's easy for me to say because I'm cheating. You know, I have lots of experience in years. However, at least you're talking about it, and you can recognize it now. It's just people don't understand how much they hurt you by the words that they say, they speak.
Anybody want to interject?
Sigma comes to mind. But, you know, first I want to just say everyone is beautiful. I think that we are, as women, like I always admire, or I've always admired Black women. But I think more so as I got older, I started to take more notice. And like sometimes I'll just have a conversation with someone and I'll be like, you know, you're beautiful. You know, we're beautiful people just in general. Like I think that's very important. But part of my experience, I guess I could start from where I grew up. I grew up in North Belmore. And North Belmore, I understood what my parents were, I guess, trying to do, but I had issues growing up. More so, I would say from the elementary school age. And we moved there when I think I was around 8. Wasn't until I think I was sharing with you. Specifically, I remember this one situation where at some point I was literally the only Black person in the classroom. So some of the things that I would experience would be if they talked about slavery, right away they'd look at me like it was just like an obvious.
You were a slave.
Yeah, exactly. It was an obvious reaction. Every time they said the word Black, you know, they would, and it made me, you know, as a, I guess 3rd, 4th grader, you know, it made me feel away. And my parents weren't the type, unfortunately, to school me and talk to me about my upbringing or as a Black person. None of that, because, you know.
Your parents are Caribbean.
They are, and love them, but.
They wanted to make it nice for you. I finally realized that when my mother wouldn't be as vocal as I thought she should be with certain issues. They wanted to make it nice because you still had to be there.
I guess so.
That's the thought process. It's Southern Caribbean, it's the same.
That sounds.
Jamaica, but I was born here. But you know, again, the upbringing is my parents were, you know, they were always working, so we kind of not grew ourselves up, but there was just a lot they didn't tell us. Okay, so I'm around a lot of little white girls sometimes, and you know, here I am with the bubbles in my hair, and I remember this one, I remember his name, one boy who would make fun of me. And similar to your name, it was he used to call me a burnt hot dog. I don't remember how often, but it was often enough to, again, for me to remember that term, burnt hot dog. And so of course I felt away. Again, I'm the only, it's not 2 of us in the class,
So
just myself.
So yours was more about race.
Oh yeah.
About color too, but, but do you think that if you would have been in a Black school, or have you experienced being around other Black women or Black children where you were treated differently because you were browner skinned?
Not specifically, but I can say that as I got older, like I went through that whole confidence, lack of confidence phase growing up. I didn't feel comfortable. You see how I'm here now? I didn't feel comfortable around whether you were light skinned, dark skinned. I didn't feel comfortable around my own people up until maybe late 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. And I think that's because of where I was brought up. And like you, I did go through a phase where, you know, I wish I had lighter skin because I grew up around more white women and hair and, you know, I felt that I did feel a way at times, like I didn't belong. There were times where I felt like I just felt uncomfortable being around any black women or anyone of color. But then there was like a shift. When I got to high school, I only wanted to be around my people.
What made you uncomfortable around black women?
I wasn't used to. Look where I lived.
Right.
You know, I remember also another time growing up. You call me buckwheat? Yeah, buckwheat. Some of the white girls, yeah. Because my hair, my mother didn't do. I was like at a sleepover or something, and I woke up the next morning.
Your hair was all over the place.
Yeah, it was all over the place, and that stuck with me. And I even, throughout college, I remember writing about those two names that I was called at times. And skipping ahead again to like more my older years, I dated a guy who was light, you know, very light skinned. And this is where that lack of confidence came in. He said to me, "Oh, have you ever thought of bleaching your skin?" I was like, no. And you all are probably sitting here thinking, well, can you continue to date him? I did because...
You told me about him.
Yeah, I did because...
Even over your head,
no, it bothered me, but I don't even remember why I stayed with him at the time. But that was around the time when I went through that whole, you know, feeling a way about my complexion, you know. But again, like where I am now, where I am today, I am more confident with, you know, this is what it is. And I think, again, as women, we're just, no matter what shade, I don't even see, I mean, I see now because we're here, but I don't even see it anymore. But I think I saw it more so growing up. And, you know, it's...
Well, one of the things that I've been blessed with is that that was never, ever discussed in my house. My mom is light, and all her siblings are light, and my dad's side is browner, and my dad is dark. So I didn't experience that at all. I grew up, my niece Aaliyah, she's light, and nobody ever made a difference between she and I. You know, a lot of people say because you're not real dark, but it doesn't matter, I'm darker than she is. So I never really experienced that. I actually went to a women's empowerment event a couple of years ago in North Carolina, and so the girl who was giving it, she had like a mixer before she actually started having like the workshops. She had a mixer, and we were talking, and her best friend is really light, and she was like, you know, because I don't do light skinned women, but she's my best friend now, but when she came over to me, I think they worked together, and she said that the girl had came over to her, and she was like, why is this light skinned girl coming over here? I don't do light skin. And I'm like, what? This is me I'm like, what do you mean you don't do light skin? So I'm thinking, because my Aaliyah wanted to come with me, I'm like, I couldn't have brought Aaliyah to this. I'm like, what do you mean? So she's like, because she just didn't do light skinned women. And one of her other friends who was there, we were sitting on the couch and we were talking, and I said, you know, I've never experienced that. And she told me that you just don't know. I said, no, well, if I don't know, then I didn't experience it. You know, so, but I don't know if it has to do with me being brown, or I'm not really dark and I'm not really light. In my mind, it's like, what the hell difference does it make, you know? So that really, I even asked her, I'm like, so you only empower brown to dark skinned women?
Right.
That's not empowering women to me. You know, and I think one of the things I just feel like we're all so beautiful because I think that's what makes black women so beautiful because we come in all different shades. That's what different hair textures, different shapes, different size. There's nobody else like us. So that's what, you know, I think we have to start talking about and start recognizing and start realizing that we're so unique and embrace who we are. Our full lips, our full nose, our kinky hair, our whatever, because we all got different kinds of hair, right? We just embrace our big booties, our wide hips. Because now everything that we have, everybody else trying to get it.
Yeah. And another thing, I have a daughter, she's 8, and I tell her every day at some point that she's beautiful because I can already see, and I'm praying that she doesn't have any kind of, complex.
Yeah.
But, she's actually, her complexion is darkening now. I don't know if it's because of the summer, but I just don't want her to get caught up with that whole
because
feeling a certain complexion. She has said 1 or 2 things to me already, and in my head I'm like, oh, I have to always make sure that I tell her that she's beautiful. And
but again, it might be like Jasmine. Her mother told her the same thing, but because everybody else, you know, your peers play a big part on, you know, how you feel about yourself, right?
Isn't it our men sometimes as well too?
I have a friend, Black Russian. He said that as soon as you start talking about this, they're gonna start blaming it on the men. But I think it's the same idea, like even with the men not even in the picture. I think it's. Oh, I just thought of something. Somebody did call me a jigaboo. Okay, so
No.
I used to work for General Motors, and there was something happened where I claimed there was some colorism happening. And so one of Rocky's friends, my other niece, her name is Kim. She was like, I was telling her the story, and she was like, "Oh, they're not gonna listen to you because you a jigaboo." I said, "A jigga what? A jigaboo? What?" I'm like, "A jigaboo? I'm not a jigaboo." Like, so that was the first time, but I was darker than her, so I was considered a jigaboo because I was darker than the girl. So I guess you were darker than her, so I guess you would have been a jigaboo too, because she the girl was Puerto Rican, but she was a real light Puerto Rican. So anybody that was lighter, darker than the girl was considered a jigaboo.
And I'm not going to blame all of our men because it's not all of them, but I just feel like when coming up, when we watch videos and stuff, everybody in the videos was light skinned.
Well, they're starting to be more mindful of that now.
Right, but it took, how long did it take us to become
But see,
conscious?
that's what I was gonna say. Forget men, forget your own peers. It's society on its
Oh, it
own.
is.
Like, and we keep like, instead of realizing where it comes from and deleting it, you know, we just allow it to keep brainwashing us, like without us knowing. And it's just from the show Mixed-ish, just from the show Blackish. They're talking about this, they're putting that in the atmosphere, but the reality of it, the reality of it is you're still putting a stigma on our culture, and you're separating us still by showing us the difference. Because I grew up where I'm the darkest person in my house, and my parents used to tell me I was dropped off by Smurfs, because they're very light skinned. My dad is Caucasian and Indian, and my mother's Trini, but she's real light skinned. And my little brother, they called him Casper. As they called him Powder. But me, I was always a dark one. My grandmother, I used to go help my grandmother all the time. 13 years old, I was pulled over and had to sit on the concrete and wait for my mother and father to pick me up because they thought I was robbing my grandmother.
Oh, no.
And it's really like, the society won't let us love each other. So we have to love each other even harder.
Well, I think it's just the same way, you know, how it was developed. It's to keep us separate.
Right? It's to keep us
But that's the purpose of having this conversation, so that we can become more conscious of it in our interaction, even if we talk to somebody else about it. You know, Mia, you want to say something?
No,
Oh, okay.
I want to say that I hear what you're saying about men, and I've never had men saying about my life. It's always been a black woman.
Well, yeah, okay. Because you know why? Because it's always this whole idea that men prefer lighter women. You know,
Right.
she's light skinned. Oh, hey, light skin. You know that whole hey, light skin thing.
By default, because you're light skinned, you're pretty.
Right. And because I know.
No matter what it
And your brain is
is.
empty. You're pretty, but you
Right.
your brain is
Right.
empty. So it's even like
Yeah, but even just because you're light skinned doesn't, and just
Mm-mm.
because you're dark skinned doesn't make you ugly. Just because you're
Right.
light skinned doesn't make you, you know, gorgeous. But
But I've been told, oh, you're pretty for a dark girl. You have nice
That's
skin for a dark girl.
that's
That's
yeah.
what we have.
And even to the empowerment thing, like people have done empowerment things, and when I'm like, I want to go, they're looking at me like, and then and I will show up, and then they'll all speak, and I will wait till the end, and they act like if I don't even, then I say, hey, I'm Dr. Zoe, and they say, what? Like, it just couldn't happen, and I'm like looking like you're so clueless.
But you gotta, for
You're
me
so-
too, it's some light skinned women don't even identify with the fact that they're black. I have a cousin who,
Are you serious?
I have a cousin who's mixed, and me and her got into a physical like fight at my best friend's wedding, night of the wedding, because she was upset that I said I wouldn't want my son to date anyone but my race. And at the end of the day, I love black people. I am pro-black all the time. Now, if it's something happens and he falls in love with anybody else, that is what it is. But I wouldn't want him to go out looking for anybody else but us, because look at the shades, look at the beauty.
Well, I always think
and
about
she
that
took so
self-hate
much offense
anyway.
to it.
I think that's self-hate anyway. When men have this preference, you know, I only date light women. Why is that?
Because of what she said, ultimately. They
Well, that
feel
would
that
be
they're
considered
dark
taboo.
and they don't want to have a baby
Doesn't have
that
it.
has the same issues they do.
Taboo.
Right.
You know, I'm raised in a
Yes,
Southern household, so it's
taboo.
considered taboo, so the closer to light white. My
You're
mother
right.
told me a story,
Mhm.
there was a woman that was passing for black,
Mhm.
white.
Mhm.
She was light skinned, she had blue eyes, and she married the darkest man she could find. And the Klan found them one night, and they killed her, and they killed him.
So we out of the whole. I mean, we not out of the whole idea
No,
of
we
Klansmen.
yeah.
But you know, but the thing is, it's a little different now. So I wish we had some men here other than my son, because you know my son doesn't really care about what color somebody is, as long as they're
I'll
black.
say this for me personally, just because it's my older sister. I'm not gonna say by how many years, but she's older. Up until now, I'm never asked about me. Where's the package? I always get, how's your sister doing? So I was always not at her doing. She was always the pretty sister. That was. And it wasn't her fault. But that's just how people make me feel. It would always be, Keisha needs to know. Keisha needs to
You
know.
mean like girls?
Just
You mean girls?
people.
I mean not girls. You mean like men,
People.
guys? Just people in general.
People in general. People in general. And so she was the pretty one.
Mhm.
I was the smart one.
I knew you was gonna say that. The smart one.
And I'm smart as hell.
See, I don't even know what that feels like, I'm an only child.
I'm an only girl.
It's
I
hard
have no
too,
siblings.
but it's hard when you have someone that everyone is saying is beautiful, and you never hear that. You never
We
hear
just
that.
recently had I'm gonna share because you brought it out there, so I'm gonna put it out there and even further. You know, in the past year, you know, I think as sisters, being the number of years apart that we are, and me being the oldest, as a woman, not as a girl, I can now identify with a lot of things that I couldn't identify with when we were younger. I personally didn't do anything to my sister, I hope, to make her feel the way that she feels. However, I can identify with how we were treated as the package. And it was something that we had never spoke about until I brought it to light. And what I realized is it could have been one of my mother's friends, it could have been a relative, it could have been someone, you know, that we bumped into together. It's always been a situation where I got complimented in her presence and she was not. And I think that looking back, I said to her, like, I'm sorry, I apologize that no one gave you that validation, you know, that you needed. And maybe it was something that my mother had not, maybe she just didn't see it at that time. Now that I'm older, I can identify with the pain that it caused her. And we can't go back and we can't change it, but it definitely scarred her. And for that, like, I'm protective of what she's had to experience. If she bumps into someone and they're asking about me and they're not asking about her, you know, all of those things I think has impacted, and even our relationship in some ways as well. You know, I'm not the person that harmed you, You know, I've never treated you that way. So we're gonna have to get through this together somehow.
Right.
But there's some resentment.
There definitely is.
That's something that we all have to heal from something.
I never carried myself like I was better than anyone, my sister or anyone. I've been challenged by dark-skinned women just because of the fact that I'm light-skinned, you know, where they just want to test you, they want to call you names, they want to fight you, they want like,
Cause they don't be a gangster.
because I was the darker woman as bullied to some extent as well, because I always felt like I had to prove myself. And I'm tomboy girly girl. So when I was in gym class, I could play ball just as good as the girls on the basketball team. I just never was on the basketball team. I could play dodgeball just as good as those, you know, females could. But I was always tested. I was always challenged in some way by someone.
And you think it's because you were light skinned?
I think so.
Well, I was challenged because I was a girly girl. I'm
Yeah.
a girly girl. I still am a girly girl. And I was very feminine and, you know,
Right.
and just my mannerisms with, cause even how, I saw myself in a camera one day out at my spiritual center and I could see myself from the back sitting and I'm clapping. And I'm like doing this and I'm doing this. And I'm like, I was with my friend Jennifer. I was like, no wonder the chicks don't be liking me. I'm like, look at me. And like, I'm fixing my hair. But that's just, I was the only girl. And my mother, you know, treated me like a girl. So,
I have
you
a
know.
question. What did you do to make yourself feel better?
I was a smart one.
No, but like when somebody asked you about Keisha, what did you say?
We still get that to this day.
And what do you say?
I'm just like, she's fine.
See, I feel like I experienced that same thing. Like, if you see my best friend, she's gorgeous, okay? She is everything you'd want to be, you know what I'm saying? She's just amazing. But everybody favors her. She's just always been the favorite. And I just ignore it. Like, or I tell them, like, go ask her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, you have to diffuse that because the resentment you'll build for that person, and it's not your fault, but you really feel like envious to that person sometimes. You really just gotta be like, and I'm great. But don't act like that. Don't even act like she's, but she here? No. So I'm amazing.
That's Lauren's personality.
Yeah, because I feel that. I feel that.
Mia, did you have any kind of experiences being of light and straight hair and all of that stuff?
Oh, I've had like thank you. But so my mom, prior to her marrying my dad, she was married to my brother's father, and he's this beautiful black, beautiful skin. So my brothers are dark, one darker than the other. But we weren't raised to, because my mother did not play until this day. She does not play it. You know, we were never raised to be like, okay, so you girls are light skinned and in Benjamin they're brown skinned and therefore you guys gotta see it. It never dawned on me.
Right.
And so as a consequence of that, a good consequence, I have friends of every color. However, being like the Puerto Rican black girl, I would be tested because they have like this misnomer that light skinned girls can't play, or I'm gonna walk all over you because you light skinned, you're just gonna let me do it. No. Right? So a few years ago, a friend of mine getting married, and one of her bridesmaids that I know because of her, her mom was there. This beautiful brown skinned woman, right? But I would dare not say, wow, you know, her daughter's my complexion. So I had never met her, and I was like going around introducing myself to everyone. I was like, oh, you're such and such mom. I don't know why I said that. She's like, why are you shocked? Because I'm black? I was like, no, I'm shocked because I've never met you before. Like,
You're her mom.
Because you're her mom, and hi, nice to meet you, right? And it like, I wanted to go home and tell my mother, now I'm an adult, and I'm like, all the ladies coming for me. Why is she coming for me? I mean, but her reaction to me was because of the reaction to other people,
Right.
because of her skin tone and her daughter's color, right? So it like, and I wanted to say something, but you know, you're raised, you don't kind of question your elders, you kind of just take it. And I wanted to say, I wasn't even looking at your skin tone, right? So that whole thing, we were never placed, like in my family, we come in different hues. I don't know my dad's Puerto Rican side, it's just him. Like we knew one person. But I mean, we were never raised to look at it or think someone is not as pretty because, or they're prettier because we weren't raised like that. And yeah, I've gotten called, you hot yellow heifer, right? I'm always a heifer, right?
I heard that.
You can't be you can't be high yellow without being a heifer.
Right.
It's one word.
Yes. And like my mom, you know, had she come, she would have told you, growing up in the 60s, because she's fair skinned, she had the toughest time. And that made her extremely tough because she had to prove to the people around in the community that I'm not no pushover because of the color of my skin.
That's right.
And she received more flack from the black community
Oh,
than
yeah.
she did from the white.
Yeah,
And we grew up in Rockville Center.
Absolutely. I mean, I get that. That's the whole reason of having this conversation, because I think it's so ingrained in the black community. Luckily I never grew up that way. My grandmother, my mother's mother, could pass.
Yeah.
But when I had an experience with my niece, with her family, her mother's family. I never forget, I went to her house, and she had, her cousins came over, and Khalid was in college, and he was gonna pledge Kappa and all of this stuff. So, Aaliyah's her cousin Lisa, her husband Michael was talking about, asking me about him. And so Lisa's daughter has said to me, oh, well, he doesn't have to pledge, because Michael was saying, he wants to pledge and get into a fraternity, so that, when he gets jobs and stuff, he'll be connected to people and stuff like that. And she said, he doesn't have to pledge because he's light skinned. I said, what?
Yeah.
And it ended up being a blowout, and because I thought she was ignorant. I didn't want to talk to her anymore. I was like, this is ignorant. And then I'm talking to my niece's husband was there, who's really dark, Marshall. And, Leah was saying how she knows because she's light that people treat her a certain way because she's light. But like I said, she and I grew up like sisters, so that was I never experienced it. But it really pissed me off. Like, I'm like, this you do, she said. I'm like, you can't, in my mind, I was like, you can't be that educated to sit here and say this. But then it made me think that side of her family, yes, that's what they believe and that's what they do. Because I even had my nephew Kendall, who passed away. I remember once saying to him, you're a black man and you got to do the right thing. And he was like, even if I'm light skinned, I said, where the hell you get that from?
Yeah.
But it's reality.
It's real.
And you cannot keep sleeping.
It's not for me, I don't feel like because somebody is lighter than me, if somebody's lighter than me, that they're going to be more successful than me. Nope. Don't believe that at
But
all.
that's not a reality, because the reality is if your son walks into corporate America, because of how good looking and light skinned he is, he's going to get that job. Where a dark skinned brother who's a little bit, right,
he got turned away
because he's dark
he
skinned.
looks
right.
He's from the hood.
When I went to get certified as a, minority business, the gentleman that helped me, Rashad, he is really dark skinned, gorgeous dark skinned guy, right? And he's in his 30s. And he told me about how he had gotten pulled over by the police and all this. And he said if he was lighter, he doesn't think they would have pulled him over. Because the first thing I said, do you think it's because you're dark? Because my son drives through Garden City all the time. And he was like, of course, definitely. Even though my son probably got pulled over too, but I'm sure they treat him differently.
But I don't know. See, my husband is 5'9", dang near pale male, and he's muscular. And he gets pulled over at least once a week.
I think that's intimidation too. There's a fear there for white people.
Inside, I think it hurts his feelings because it's like, I'm like everybody else. Why do you want to pull me over? He gets pulled over once a week at least. Because he drives.
What does he drive?
He drives a BMW.
Oh, there we go. He's still gonna be black, but he's not supposed to have that.
Right, exactly.
But
You're not supposed to have
and
that.
his mind is, he's like, whatever. But he literally gets pulled over nonstop once a week. And I said, how did that make you feel when they was pulling you over? And you can see the same car pass the same way. He's like, I don't feel no way, but I know you do because it never fails. It never fails. It'll be broad daylight, he gets pulled over. And they size him up.
So we need to, Melissa, I forgot about you. We need to start we need to continue to have these conversations because I think there needs to be some change in how we think about this. And for all the people who think, that somebody is beneath you because of the color of their skin or you're superior because of the color of your skin, you're absolutely wrong. I'm just happy that
Add one thing.
Yes,
So my children are dark skinned. I was very upset let me just tell you. Not because of what society said, but dear God, I want somebody to look like me. And I got pretty eyes. Come on, somebody, give me one. So my son was born very dark. So my dad is dark like your shirt. And I was so mad about it. And now my daughter, so she's dark and she has 2 light-skinned kids. So God gave me finally, right? So it's crazy because she's so mad about it. Like when Denham was born, she just knew it was this chocolate baby, and I was praying outside, like, please, I need one with pretty eyes. And not because what society is, but now my Denham, he's like, Grandma, we're white, right? And I'm like, no, wait. So she's like, see? And I'm like, no. So I have to, he's 6 and he always says, no, because we're white. My grandma, me and grandma, we're white. We're the only ones. Bro, we are black.
And see, in my 4-year-old, she's like, I'm orange, right?
No.
We not orange, we're black.
We have all lessons because they are paler than me, and I have to say, no, you are 100% black.
When I had my son, I wouldn't have believed he was mine if I didn't see him come out.
Me?
Because I'm brown. I mean, everybody says we are not that dark, but I'm brown. I just knew I was gonna have a brown baby, and his dad is not as dark, not light as he is. We're both he's a little lighter than me, but just from my mom's side of the family, and then his grandfather, his father's father.
Can we switch?
I raised my kids in Flatbush, and my 2 kids are your complexion, and I've had literally women come say, your kids have the same father, that's your kid? They'll say that.
Sarita is Sarita's twin, so the sister Sarita.
Right.
She came to me when my son was about 2, and she was like, she looked at him because he was really light. She was like, I don't understand. She was saying his father wasn't that light. And I was like, they don't understand how it works.
Genes and
Yes, they don't understand how that works.
I'm the lightest, all of my kids are darker than me.
I surely didn't, because I went out and found me a black man, because I was tired of the light-skinned Caucasian life I was living. I was like, give me a chocolate man, I'm gonna be a chocolate baby. We gonna have a chocolate family.
Did you get a chocolate baby? Just
He's not chocolate.
Exactly.
Well, I was just saying that because we have to educate, right? So if I don't help my grandson, right, he's gonna walk around believing, and he probably will have privilege when he gets stopped by the police because he's light-skinned, he's pale light-skinned. I don't want him to believe that he's better than anyone else because he clearly will throw that shade at 6 years old. Like, no, I'm white, and I'm like, no, you're black.
Because we have this whole idea that white is right.
No, there is a real idea, and he doesn't go to school out here.
He'll
He
identify
goes to
easily.
school in Queens, like by Rochdale. Everybody's black, so I don't even know when he could have even learned that white is right because.
This whole idea.
I'm just pro. There's no white pictures in my
I
house.
have the so I have
I didn't.
Wait,
I don't think so.
I have 2 sons. One is what color is Tommy?
Like little Tommy or big Tommy?
Little Tommy.
Little Tommy's chocolate.
He's not chocolate. He's in
Yes,
between.
He's like
He's
in
chocolate.
between.
He's like a milk chocolate, not
Right,
a
he's
chocolate.
like a milk chocolate, my older, and then we have the little one, and he looks just like
Vanilla.
he looks like light colored hair, and we're in an all white school district, so he literally just says, well, I'm white, and I said, whoa. I called my sister like, Tori thinks he's white. And I was like, no, it's not that you're white, you just take after your grandmother, take after both your grandmothers, I said, and we're black. And if they ask you, we're black. But him being in a school district where he's probably like the only person of color, and all his friends look like him, he's just like, well, I'm white too. And I'm just like, but you're not. Look at you, you're not.
But are you also teaching them that they're going to receive a certain amount of privilege because they are light-skinned? You understand? Like, are you teaching them that too? Because that's reality.
So they don't misuse what's
So
right.
you think
Exactly.
kids get privilege?
So they don't
Yes.
think this is.
We get privilege.
Right, but he gets it.
Light skin
And he benefits from it.
There's a different mindset. One lady said,
But he benefits from
I
it.
just mean like at my job, I'm
Right.
the only black man in my
And
job,
you
and I feel
benefit from
completely
it.
uncomfortable
Right,
every
yeah.
day.
But that's at your job because you're the only black person. But can we ask him?
But the
When
white
you're
people
around-
are so
when you're
relate to him
around-
because he's more light
Well,
skinned.
it's harder because he's.
Am I light skinned though?
Yes.
I think I'm brown skinned.
You're lighter. You're not.
And that's
you're
what
You're not
lighter.
as light as she is, or
Well, I'm dark today. Hello,
you guys are teaching your grandchildren and your son
that he's black, but are you teaching him that regardless of you being black, you're still gonna receive a certain amount of privilege that this other kid might not receive, and you need to identify it. And that's the problem.
Wait a minute,
They're
hold
not
on.
identifying it.
I don't know if is that true?
That's a fact.
Is it a fact?
What's the fact?
You would hope that it's internal though, that he would naturally
Is
say,
he
let
gonna
me
really
speak up.
see privilege? Because there might be somebody that looks at him and say, you still a nigga.
Well, let me explain